So, I got a special guest in the building right now. We came across each other, um, probably like what, a year now since the
Almost two. Almost
two.
two.
Yeah, we met in this wonderful program called Black Design Collectives, which is sponsored by a lot of heavyweights, Black designers within the industry that gave upcoming designers a chance to sit at the round table with them and get a chance to learn a lot from them and their experience. So enough about me talking. I want to let you guys meet this wonderful guy right here and let him introduce himself and tell you about him.
Well, hello, everybody. My name is Donny White, and I'm the CEO of a clothing label titled Petra Sakara. We're currently in development right now, working on lining up with manufacturers and things of that nature, but designs are solid. And as far as my design aesthetic, I design for the professional female. I feel like everyone, even though we're going to work like Zoom calls and stuff like that, still want to represent and present their best selves. So that's kind of where my niche is. Retired active duty military after 20 years. So pretty proud of that. Had a great time doing that thing, but definitely happy to get a transition and do exactly what I want to do now. And currently a student at Woodbury University and a junior there as well. So.
Nice. So you was an active military, like what part, like branch or division you worked in?
I was an Air Force officer. I worked in space and missiles. So I ended my last tour as research and development for new satellite technology and merging that with what's going on with technology. So it was kind of cool.
Wow, that's awesome. The reason I ask is because my close friend is in the service and he's overseas right now in Korea. So that's dope. That's one thing I did know. Like you just dropped some more knowledge on me. So coming from that field to fashion, like how did that work out?
So and it's funny because I've always been both equally right and left brain. Like the technical stuff really clicks with me, as well as being able to imagine what's not there. So it actually kind of played a huge role in my baseline and foundation for design. Like I have the discipline that's required to get things to execution. Plus, being able to think outside the box because, that's what we have to do consistently with everything going on right now. So it's been a win-win for me. And I don't know, it's always been one of those eye-opening situations when you realize that all of your preparation in your life is preparing you for what you're doing right now in this moment.
That's very true. That's dope. So like, what was that moment when you just realized that this is my true passion and I'm about to go full force with it?
Well, it was it's two tracks if I'm being real honest. First, I've always loved fashion, like to the point where it really makes no sense to no one else. Like I'm always looking at it, I'm always ingesting, I'm always reinterpreting, I'm always seeing things differently. And that really started when I was a kid playing in my parents' closets because I would always pull their stuff out, try it on, and try and emulate the album covers because they grew up in the 70s, so they had some really cool album covers back then.
Yeah.
But as far as me realizing that it was my purpose in life, I was actually in Korea on an exercise for the Air Force, and they had a bunch of this Rick Warren book, A Purpose-Driven Life, just around, and I picked it up and read it, and it just kind of clicked. Like, okay, no doubt. Like I was already meeting with people when I was even over there, like getting fabrics and having stuff made, the custom the way I wanted it to. So I'm like, yeah, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And it just kind of opened up from there.
It's funny because I made a joke with my close friend the other day. And I said, if you would have went to Korea, like, because he went into the service like right after high school, but he had went to, I guess, like, North Carolina. I think that's where he was stationed at first for his training and everything like that. But when he officially was able to travel, his first location was Hawaii. But he was in a relationship and he was, about to be in that moment where he was transitioning to, make the relationship work and really like pursue marriage and stuff like that. But then, long story short, things happened. he met someone else, and then they stationed him in Korea, but the whole family went. So now that I'm like really in depth into fashion, I was like, man, if you would have went at that time, I don't know what my life would have been if I was over there with you at that time.
It's crazy. There are some gifted artisans over there.
Yeah,
Like you could literally give them a picture and they can make it. Like that's
yeah, I know. Yeah, I would have had so much fun over there. Yeah, I probably would never have came back home.
there's that. There's that.
So, my next question is like, since you talked about, you know, your one part of your life to the next transition of your life and going into fashion, was it anybody from the early stage or maybe now that really like you keyed into and they really gave you like real in-depth information of how to really push forward with your moving into the fashion industry? Like, do you have a lot of core individuals like that's like industry or like fashion industry cats that really you can rely on and maybe, you know, want to talk about and, you know, give them maybe they shout out or, you know?
Yeah, one of my mentors is, of course, TJ Walker, the founder of Cross Colors, and that dude is just like a wealth of knowledge and, you know, has an amazing spirit and willing to share that information. Because I think sometimes you run into people in the industry who, you know, are kind of partitioned and, you know, aren't willing to help because they feel threatened or whatever. But he definitely didn't have that energy, and like whatever I needed from him, even if it's just you know, a solid ear to bounce things off of, um, I started there. But I'm a firm believer of, no kidding, as much education as you can possibly get, and I
Mhm.
think that definitely came from the military. So I started. I've been sewing probably going on 8 years now,
Nice.
on my own, just taking, you know, whether it's continuing education classes. But once I got out of the military, I started doing it full time and went to LA Trade Tech, where I met Mr. Walker and was there for a year. And then I transferred to Woodbury University to get my Bachelor of Fine Arts.
That's dope. It's funny because when I decided to go, because when I got out of high school, I wasn't too sure like what direction I wanted to go in. So I kind of took like a year off, and then I decided to go back. But I went to Santa Monica, and I was going to take up photography and broadcasting. But at that time, I didn't have a vehicle, so it was like kind of hard to like get there right on time with certain time of the classes, you know, will start and stuff like that. Maybe I was making excuses. I could have probably got a little bit earlier, but yeah,
We've all done that.
it led to me going to Trade Tech. So at that time, I was just sketching. I was just drawing a lot of designs, and you know, my friends and my mom would see it and be like, you know, once you try to, you know, put that stuff together, get it developed, like find a way that maybe somebody can help you put it together or however. So we went to one institute that was like before Trade Tech, like on Jefferson, but I forgot it's not there anymore. But when I went in there, I walked in, you know, I had my little booklet with all my drawings and stuff. And, you know, we sat at the table with, you know, the counselor and I guess whatever professor. And it was like, oh, yeah, it's nice, but, you know, you need to tweak this. You need to do this a little bit differently. You know, your body figures is kind of off and stuff like that. And they was like, yeah, we can help you. And yeah, if you come aboard, we have you right in a couple of years. And then we was like, okay, so how much would it be to 10? Yeah, like 45,000 and I was like, oh, all right, thank you. Can you just give me the brochure and we'll call you back and let you know. And then,
Appreciate it. Good look now.
I owe a lot to my mom. Like she always been like my biggest supporter, like from everything that I've been going through life, through the school, whatever. She always been there. So when she really saw that I was really serious and I really wanted to pursue it, she, you know, she looked up schools for me and came home. Was like, go to Trade Tech. So I went to Trade Tech. I studied a couple classes there, but at that time I needed a real full time job. So you know, I had to kind of take some time off and go find a job so I can help out and, you know, carry my load and take a lot of load off of my parents. But yeah, like I went back and I finally got like my degree. I didn't get it in fashion, but I got my AA, and then I transferred to Dominguez, got my BA and stuff like that. But
congratulations.
No, I appreciate that. And it's funny, later on, once I transitioned into, because I love film, I'm a big fanatic about film. I started working for a film company. But then one of my close friends from junior high came and started working at the company, and he was like a true hustler. Like he was, you know, he worked in accounting, but on the side he was like selling tennis shoes and T-shirts and all type of stuff. Like he just was a hustler. So I started like trying to get into the shoe game, but since we pretty much know everybody, I couldn't really sell the shoes because he already had that market sold up. So that's what got me back into fashion, because I was like, okay, I can make T-shirts, maybe put some wordplay on it or graphic, and then I could sell it with the shoes. But the people were just asking more for the T-shirts. And then that's when I got back into fashion. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. But yeah, Trade Tech is the school. If anybody wants to learn and really pursue fashion, I think Trade Tech is a great institute to start. And
I agree. I agree.
My next question is the what if factor. Like, did you have a point where when you decided to go fully into fashion, what was it, any drawbacks or any walls that was starting to come into effect where you was like, maybe not?
I think that's part of my military training too. Like there's always what I call being a master of calculated risk. So there's always a complex organization of what if statements in my head at all times. It just is. Like I'm always thinking, like, if this happens, what am I gonna do? Like this whole COVID thing really like blew my world up. Like, okay, like establishing a business now, you have to do it with the mindset that COVID is real and it's not going away too soon, you know? So like, what do I need to do to change it to be prepared for it and still be able to thrive in that environment? And also look at it too, like this environment, like if you're thriving here, that you're meant to thrive because you're like recession proof, you're pandemic proof. So it's like you kind of figured that out.
Yeah.
But for me, it was more feeling prepared. And I think I'm there now. Like it was a certain level of education where I felt like I needed to be comfortable, like I needed to know enough about all major areas, whether it comes to manufacturing, where it comes to sourcing, like, you know, those sorts of questions that were in my head. I wanted to clear those up because, you know, you gotta, in order to have clear vision, you gotta kind of be able to write it down and map out where you're going. So I think I'm there at this point. So I'm not scared about it anymore. I'm just trying to find the right place to start.
That's dope. That's dope. Question about like you mentioned TJ, where he's almost like a mentor. I take him as a mentor for me. When I came across, like I said, when I met TJ, it was downtown, and I was at one of the buildings that's downtown where they do a lot of the production and helping you put, you know, your clothes together if you know, need help finding seamstress or manufacturers or whatever. It was in that building. So I was just walking in. I walked into the building and I was just going from floor to floor. And I just saw a room full of like cross-colored gear. And I was like, why is this room that's so full of cross-colored gears? And I walked in there, not walked in, you know, I knocked, and then he was sitting at the table and he just opened with open arms. And it was just like cool to like be in front of somebody that you never thought you was going to be in front of. Like for me, I was like, you know, this is the guy to cross colors. Like I would never think that I would have that moment to really, and for him to be so open arms and so with so much knowledge and so much like leadership to like this, sit there and say, hey, you know, my door is always open. If you have questions, you're welcome. That meant a lot. So my question is, how do you feel? Do you feel like it needs to be more of that, or do you feel like as far as I hate to say it, but the black side of our industry, um, what is you feel like is lacking? What is it? What are we missing? Why are we not striving as much as these other corporations that we buy into, but really they don't give back to our community or give back to us? But then we have our own FUBU, Carl Kanai, whatever, and they go up and then to kind of fade out.
So there's a lot of things at play, and when you talk about that intersectionality, it's really been something I've been observing in the curriculum that I'm studying now, like looking at the history of fashion, you know, writ large, not just you know, the compartmentalized sectors that we find ourselves in a lot. And that's one of the challenges I bring to myself is like, what void am I trying to create in the industry that no one else is doing? Because I feel like that's when you really run into friction if you're, you know, doing the same thing someone else is, because at that point you are competition. But I always strive in my networking and the people I surround myself with, you know, have that same kind of core ethos, like what I call community consciousness. Like, you know, we all win, you know, and as we've seen through the pandemic, that the best help comes from ourselves when we as a community, you know, wrap ourselves around each other and support in any way we can. I think a lot of that comes from self-esteem, that comes from lifelong conditioning of us, you know, kind of being taught, whether it's through the study of history, that we're not enough or we're less than, that it does enter the psyche a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Um, More to it than that. And like we were talking about earlier, like as much as I love cross colors and understood the power of fashion and belonging and felt like I had a place, I still didn't value it enough to preserve it and to keep it. And that saddens me today, because I'm just like, it's worth so much more now to me being in the industry and knowing, you know, as much as I know about it and its history, its origins, and, you know, its impact and how it kind of permeated the culture that I grew up in, you know, in the 90s and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of things at play and a lot of things going on. And I feel like a lot of the larger parts of the industry have been so successful because they have enough capital to exploit, whether it's labor, whether it's resources, you know, things of that nature, where it kind of leads to the longevity. But for us, it's harder to even enter the field. But as I'm also learning with the pandemic, like everything is turned upside down right now. Like even the big chain stores and, you know, those big designers are struggling, and they have to approach this problem differently, which is, I think, where we thrive best, because we've always had the innate ability to create something from nothing, which I think is the true essence of creativity. That now with social media and, you know, the outlets, like those gates and barriers aren't there no more. Like we can go direct to consumer, and as long as you got a product that people want, you're in business, you know?
Yep, that's dope. As far as someone that's going to tune into our videos and make sure, I'm gonna make sure that if they are at home right now and they're like questioning and they're like trying to figure out what are key ways or opportunities or what should they do or how should they take their first step, what would you give upcoming designers like yourself that's, you know, trying to figure out what steps that they need to, you know, make right now, and how should they go by doing it?
I think first you got to start with a little soul searching. And what I mean from that is do some internalizing, kind of figure yourself out as far as what it is you want to contribute to this industry, and open the aperture. Like, you know, just because somebody's done it one way doesn't mean it can't be done a different way. And, you know, just kind of own what your fingerprint is, your individuality, which I think really separates anybody when it comes to an industry, a creative industry. Like everybody, you either in two camps: people who do something that's already been done before, or people who do something totally different, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So our industry tends to be a lot of rehash of old stuff, but, you know, it's amped and ripe for completely new ideas. I mean, learning, I would advise to learn more about what technology can do to increase your reach and
Yeah.
access when it comes to sourcing things. And as in all new businesses, try and get as much stuff done for free as you can, meaning, you know, whether it's research, whether it's, you know, doing those online webinars that are free to, you know, get access and information and to start meeting people in the industry. But as far as getting started, I think it's narrowing in exactly what it is you want to do, because there's so many facets to this industry that you can get into, whether it's production, whether it's actually design. Like it's a really big field and there's a lot of money in it. So I'm like, there's room.
It definitely is. It's definitely a lot of room. They make it seem like it's not.
Exactly. Exactly.
Like
And
every corner you got is a closed door, but it's really not. So it's a lot of, if you have the passion, you have the love for it, you'll find that key to open up all the doors that you need to open. So, you know, the fun part is when you I would say the fun part is creating it, and the extra is making money. It's just like, you know, if you love what you're doing, you know, it's not a job. It's just constantly something that, you know, you love bringing to the table. And then when the money come in, it's like a prize. So
totally,
yeah.
totally, totally. And I really, you know, try to network and associate myself with people who don't have what I call that broke mentality of, you know, believing that there's like only one black place in an industry, you know, like only room for one person. It's just
At the time, yeah.
it's a totally backwards mindset. It's like, you know, there's room, period. There's room. Like I see all the brothers and sisters doing it now, and it's so empowering and inspiring. It's like I love to see it, because I haven't seen so many black designers as I've been seen in the last 3 years that are actually making moves and doing like big stuff.
I
Like I
think
see Rich Fresh, I see Stephen Gordeau, I see like there's so many to count, really, and that's a great spot to be in. It's a great spot to be in.
yeah, with social media, it opens up another channel way for you to click and see who's doing what and what they're bringing to the table. And like you said, I see a lot of amazing female and male black designers out here, like really pushing the limit. And it's amazing to be a part of this world and this industry. You know, considering myself a designer. So
You are.
you know, I won't put that, you know, I just love to create, you know, but you know, if you know people, you know, label me as a designer, you know, I'll take it. But law of attraction, how does that fit in your world?
I think it's how I've always lived my life. You know, it's like I grew up in a strong, non-denominational Christian family that it was, you know, treat others how you want to be treated, and you know, you treat people right and you get that in return, and respect is mutual. So it's how I've entered all of my relationships, whether it's with vendors and things of that nature. Like we got to have that type of rapport, and I got to feel comfortable with you as a person, and the mutual respect is being there.
Yeah.
Plus, I believe if you treat people wrong, it does impact you. Like karma is real. Karma is real, and it will come either directly or indirectly, but karma is real.
Yeah. Do you have anything as far as like any projects that you're working on, or do you want to let people know how to find you as far as social media, Instagram, Facebook, whatever, or do you have any pieces that you want to show some people right now, or what you're working on? You know, or you know, if you want to keep it secretive, it's all right with me. But you
No,
know,
it's all good. So a couple of things that are in the works right now is, like I said, I'm still a student in school, and we're working on our junior collection right now. And I'm really excited about this one, because this one is called Work Week number 7, because all of my collections are essentially a work week, like 5 days of outfits that can be coordinated and intermixed. So it's a natural extender, because I'm trying to educate people on how to build a wardrobe. And, you know, you don't need a closet full of clothes to be fashionable. You need some good, solid standard pieces that'll last a long time. And then you can intermix accessories and all that kind of stuff to give it new life and new personality. But this one's called the CEO, because it's my fantasy world. If it was all women running the Fortune 500 companies, like what would that look like? Because that's something I've never seen. So I'm always looking to for slices in the industry that I haven't quite seen an example of yet that I'd like to be there.
Okay.
So this is she's she's in charge, and I like developing that character and that aesthetic that I don't have any limits, and it can be hyper feminine, it could be hyper masculine, it could be a little bit. I really do that.
Yeah.
Some stuff I'm working on too. Like for menswear, I'm more into resort because I feel like I'm always on vacation in my head. So it's funny how these different personalities come out in product categories, but I'm gonna go with it and see where it takes me. So
Yeah, that's what it's about. Like to never be in one box. Like to you never know. You just be sitting there, and then all of a sudden something just pop in your head. Like, yeah, all right, let me jump on this real quick, and then you never know what that pair of shirt or pants or blazers where it's gonna take you. So yeah.
right. And I did want to ask you kind of offline. This is something me and my dad have been talking about for a while and just can't seem to wrap our heads around it as far as what does Black affluence look like? And why, when we think about affluence, is it from a white lens and perspective?
Okay, say that again. I'm sorry.
What does Black affluence look like? Like, what is Black success?
What is Black success to me?
Yeah.
I feel like it's just bringing. If you have the opportunity to open doors, then you bring those willing and strong. Those are as strong as you feel like you are to keep opening doors and bringing them in. So I feel like that's what Black excellence is to me. It's not just you standing alone. It's you bringing those with you that you can build with and take over this whatever platform you like. You can't do nothing by yourself. So I feel like that's
Right.
Black excellence.
But we were asking the question around like the aesthetic, what things look like. Like a rich white man has a yacht, he plays golf, he has a Learjet. Like, what does
Okay.
the rich Black man do? Like it's like, is it the gold plated dominoes game? I'm just like, I'm perplexed because I don't have a reference. I do not have a reference, and maybe it's meant for us to create it. But it's like I see if I can think about that. It's like everything we aspire to is from a white lens, and I think that needs to change. That's why when we get there, I feel like some people are just not fulfilled or satisfied because it's not core us. It's not uniquely us.
Man, that's a good. I mean, honestly, that is a good question, and I feel like Black excellent as far as fashion for us is. I think we're not afraid to be us. And I feel like you honestly, when you see other cultures and the way that they dress and the way that they carry themselves, it came from us.
Totally. Totally. Like studying history from a fashion perspective has been mind blowing.
Yeah, the way
Like,
we talk, the way we maneuver, they try to take that swag, but it's just not. It's not elegant. It's not efficient. It doesn't look real.
it's
Majority.
not authentic.
Yeah.
It's not authentic. And I'm wondering is and maybe that's it. Like the Black affluence I'm looking at is in fact the white affluence, but it was stolen.
Yeah.
Like they saw us in Egypt and it was like, okay, this is how we're supposed to live. This is what we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you see somebody in streetwear, it's like, okay, somebody's putting on. It's not real.
And it's like we were so sectioned to be boxed into whatever environment that they want us to be in, but then we were able to create what they felt like we was lacking. So
I feel like we are the culture.
Yeah, so
Real talk.
when they say, okay, we're gonna put them in the projects, or if they even called it the projects at the time, they just wanted to shell us off somewhere. We took that and then we became creative with it, and so we created our own culture and our environment. But what they felt like they was pushing away and section themselves off. Now that you see they're coming back and then they want our environment now.
Totally. The gentrification is a real big deal. It's a real big deal.
I feel like, even when it comes to whatever branding, as far as like the liquor industry, the cigar industry, whatever, we are the ones that make it look so gravitating to, like, when you see us doing it, when you see us drinking, when you see us promoting, it makes everybody look and go, oh, yeah, let's get them to promote us. Let's get them to be the face of, you don't, if you pay attention to that, it's like they get us to promote everything. They get us to, we're going to give you a percentage of this or whatever percentage is. It's never going to be ownership, but they want us to market it to our people because they know we're the more mainstream, the more dominant to get the people.
Influential, totally.
Yeah, we're very influential, yeah.
Totally. I get that. And part of me too is like the subcontext to my label and my branding is I really want a Black luxury label because again, it's something I haven't really seen yet. Something that elevates the culture and represents us as who we are and who we can be, which I'm excited to be on that journey, whether it comes to Black images in my art, whether it comes to, different body types and,
Yeah. They always made us seem like we always had to have a size 2 type model or this type of looking model. Or, if you look at the videos, the music videos, it was only a certain type of look. Only person that I really saw that really changed the game and was like, I'm not going to fit in that genre was Wale. Like he always had strong, Black, straight to the core looking queen women in his videos. But if you looked at every other video, it was always like the same looking type girl. Mm-hmm. So, I just feel like I was also looking at videos and also doing the audio book of Dapper Dan.
And wasn't that eye-opening?
Yeah. So he also spoke on like he wanted to be more influential with like his own logo that represent more Black culture and, stuff like that. So I hope, I'm hoping that he before he leaves here and leave this earth and he gets the opportunity because I really want to see how he puts that into the fashion industry and make it work. Because, I always knew about Dapper Dan. I kind of like followed like some of his like his journey a little bit. But if I ever get a chance to really sit down with that guy, I would really love to have a, in-depth conversation with him because it's funny, how he created everything and then they took it away, but then later came back and was trying to manipulate everything that he was doing and try to, so it's funny.
Yeah. Did you see the remix, that Netflix documentary?
Huh?
Did you see the remix, that Netflix documentary that talked about him and Misa Heightenbrim from the Bad Boy days?
No, I didn't see that one.
Check that one out.
Okay.
Check that one out because it really talked about the backstory of how they rated him, and it was actually Supreme Court Justice Sonia Sotomayor who did it.
Okay.
Because she was working for Louis Vuitton at the time.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. It's tangled.
That's crazy. Yeah.
It's tangled.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. Okay, I'm gonna check it out. Mm-hmm. You remember the title of it?
It's called The Remix.
The Remix. Okay. I'm gonna check it out. Yeah.
But yeah, man. I mean, just from a history perspective, like, and I'm so happy. I chose Woodbury as a secondary to my trade tech education, is because one of the teachers there is our fashion history teacher, and she's a hippie from the '60s, and just her perspective and just insights that just woke me up to some shit that I knew was there, but just really didn't piece together. For example, like the Harlem Renaissance happened because white developers oversold and had too much inventory, so they had no choice but to sell to Black people, and they compartmentalized the overflow in Harlem. So we had an opportunity to work collectively together in that environment due to the fact that we ordinarily was denied housing, but because they had excess,
Yeah.
now all of a sudden, and the impacts is still felt today worldwide from
Yeah.
that area in that brief moment in time. It shows that once we believe in ourselves and have the capital and the reach, what we can attain.
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I really didn't, I blame myself. I really didn't go full in depth into learning, my background, my culture, and seeing like, the different, you always went to school and you just heard about the selective, like Martin Luther King, Malcolm
Yeah,
X, you know.
slavery. They spend a lot of time on that.
But it's like then when you start getting older and you start really paying attention and you really like your mind start opening up and you like, okay, damn, this person created this and this person did that. Oh, we had our own community. Oh, we had our own section. We was real businessmen. We was like, they don't
Like
teach.
we created Wall Street.
Yeah.
Like Wall Street is based on us.
Yeah,
They took that idea too.
they don't teach you none of that in school. And you were like, how did I miss all this? Maybe I would have paid attention more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it was funny you say that because my whole time studying history in like junior high school, I was like, this feels like bullshit to me. Like this feels like a cartoon. Like I can't even get into it. It just feels that unrealistic to me.
Yeah.
Like it was very uninteresting. But studying it from fashion and understanding, even the context of slavery and what I like to call our relationship with our luxury fabric, which is cotton, is eye opening. Like that's how America got its wealth to be America, was exploiting the labor of our ancestors with this goddamn crop that.
And they will tell you straight up, like, it's time for you to get over that.
Exactly. I was like, I'll get over it when you get the money back. That's when I'll get over it. Like you, again, once you pay a fair wage for what it is you got, it's different. And then you look at all over the world how different countries colonized other countries and exploited their labor for whatever reason. And it's all over textiles. It's all over, agriculture, stuff that contribute directly to the gross domestic product of any successful country. That it's been very eye-opening.
Yeah, it's been definitely this. I say these last couple of years, I feel like you always knew racism was there, but it was kind of like covered up. You just had that feeling like, oh yeah, I know
they made an effort to hide it at
yeah,
point.
but it's like now everybody like
wilding out. Yeah.
But it's man, with the whole, I feel like especially with social media, it could be a great thing, but it also could be hurtful at the same time because it could show that it heightens a lot of aggression. I feel like so it gives people a voice that really doesn't need a voice, but then also it gives people a voice that didn't have a voice, and we can be the voice for them. So It's like it's a hit and miss type of scenario. Like you look
at double-edged sword.
Yeah,
because you're right. Because that platform does heighten and amp up things, and I had to be very careful because I have friends from all walks of life, and I found myself stereotyping them based on stuff I was being fed daily. So I was just like, I know that's not always real, and it's not. You shouldn't judge anybody like that.
I felt the same way. Like even when I did my my protest shirt, and then one of the designs.
Amazing work, by the way. Amazing work.
Thank you. And I didn't even know it was going to even reach. I didn't have no idea. I just made the shirt. I was feeling a certain way. I made the shirt. And then I put it out there. I got a couple of people buying it. And then one of the designers gave it to the Utah player. Mm-hmm. And I had no awareness. I just looked at my phone one day and saw Twitter going crazy saying, Donovan Mitchell is wearing the shirt. So that's when Christine hit me up and we did a Zoom. So I wasn't really like prepared, but I tried to like answer questions without being so angry, but yet trying to state my point.
It's
So,
hard.
huh?
It's hard to do
Yeah.
that.
So she was asking me questions, and I delivered it the best way I could. But when the video came back, a lot of stuff that I wanted to be in the video was taken out, and stuff that shouldn't been like the main pinpoint was added in the video. So I'm getting angry messages from some of my friends saying, you didn't say what you was supposed to say about the shirt. Then I'm getting people that was happy for me. And then I have friends, like I said, that's in the service, in the Army. And then I have a friend that's on the police force. So it's not like I can just go in and be like, I hate all police officers. I hate, I have family that's in the service. I have family that's on the police force. So I had to be like the medium. Like I had to state my point, but I also had to say, like, my dad, he's, from Belize. He came out here. He was able to have opportunities in America to allow me to go to a certain school, for him to pay for me to go to a certain school, and for him to put bread and food on the table and all this other stuff like that. So, I try to put all that in that equation, but you just realize that you just can't make everybody happy.
No, and I want you to understand that that's on purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that, they chopped it up on purpose because there was a message they wanted to send, and more to it than that. I can't stand, because it was happening when I was in the military too. People were trying to equate, Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the flag as against the military. I'm like, he ain't done shit to me.
Yeah.
Y'all have. He ain't done shit to me. It's like, let's call a thing a thing and stop trying to skirt around the issue. It's like, there should not be bad cops, period. Like, I couldn't be a bad military officer overseas killing the wrong people. That's not allowed.
Yeah.
I'm held accountable. So why, in this respect, can people be held accountable? Especially when they have been conditioned to believe that we are a threat just by the nature of our being, which is a problem. I mean,
and it's funny because I was watching something on Netflix as well that it was one of the documentaries. I can't think of the name, but man, during those times, they would create movies and have white actors dress up as Black people and being aggressive, being rapists, being killers, and like you put out this vision of us that wasn't even what we were. Like, but your Christopher Columbus going to, he found America, but then he's slaughtering all these Native Americans and raping and pillaging. But we're the rapists, we're the killers, and
that's the fuckery, because we've been the scapegoat from our mere existence being brought here involuntarily, and it's still happening, and it's still. I'm concerned why it's still working.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, as incompetent as Donald Trump is, white privilege is the only reason we know he's in that spot. Period. Like, it is no question. It is no question.
And the bad part about it is that I don't feel safe for either.
That part.
I be watching these debates and I'm looking at Biden, and then I'm looking at Trump, and then I'm looking at their debate going back and forth, and then I'm looking at Biden getting all frustrated and not coming back, like, and answering the questions the way he need to answer it. He's stuttering and looking all, and then Trump is just being aggressive and just bullying them, and it's just like, okay, so who I supposed to pick?
Right. And it's truly a lesser of two evils. So what society has again taught me is that, my grandpa used to always tell me, what do you say? Money don't do time.
Not at all.
Money don't do time.
You can't get it at school.
And believe none of what you hear. and half of what you see.
Yep.
Because I can't be up there looking at God and he asked me, "What'd you do with everything I gave you?" And I don't have nothing to say.
That man, that's a true statement right there. That's how I feel like. I feel like I have to play whatever part I need to play out here while I'm still able to. As long as I'm still able to get up, breathe, walk, maneuver, I need to do my part. And
We
yeah.
got to do this more often.
Yeah, definitely, man. You can always reach out to me, and we don't have to be on here. We can, have a live conversation and phone call, whatever. I'm
I
always.
appreciate that. And when you're ready to do movies, I do costume design too. So just know you have that available to you.
I don't think I'll be doing any movies anytime soon. I mean, or at all. But yeah, but
Okay.
if I get somebody that is looking for somebody to, I'll definitely deliver them your information.
Cool.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely gonna have to link up on the whole suit thing. Yeah.
Yeah, totally. I'd be honored to do that. It'd be a lot of fun.
Okay, definitely. All right, man. Have a great night and great weekend. Happy Halloween. I don't know what you got planned, but be safe out there. All right, man.
You take care.
All right, do the same.
All right.
All right,
Peace.
bye.